Before we begin, if you enjoy emotional stories like this one, please subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow. And it helps these stories reach the people who need them. Now, the story begins. Elena learned how to smile the right way. A smile that raised no suspicion. A smile that fit perfectly into family photos. A smile that felt safe during Sunday lunches. At school events. In every social moment. It was a smile trained over many years. Shaped by the habit of holding everything together. The house smelled like fresh coffee. And warm bread. The table was set. As always. Everything was in its place. Everything looked normal. And still, that morning, something felt wrong. There was a blind spot inside her. A quiet space. A space routine could not fill. Not affection. Not politeness. Not her husband's familiar voice across the kitchen. "Did you sleep badly?" he asked. He didn't really look at her. "A little," Elena replied. That was enough. It was always enough. Because the world didn't ask Elena to be whole. It only asked her to function. She was the woman who fixed things. The present mother. The correct wife. The respected professional. Easy to praise. Hard to imagine breaking. But some breaks make no sound. No explosion. No scandal. Just a quiet crack. Slow. Invisible. Sometimes, even she didn't notice it. Until Clara arrived. Clara did not enter Elena's life like a storm. She entered like a question. Small enough to seem harmless. Big enough to be impossible to ignore. Elena first saw her on an ordinary Tuesday. Late afternoon. At the community center. The building smelled like paint and old paper. Children ran through the hallways. Voices echoed. A familiar chaos. Elena held a clipboard. She checked lists. Then she heard a laugh. A laugh that did not ask permission. Clara was sitting on the steps. Her legs folded. She talked to a nervous teenage girl. She spoke calmly. With care. With presence. When the girl walked away, breathing easier, Clara looked up. She met Elena's eyes. The look was direct. Too direct. Elena felt a chill along her arm. As if the temperature had changed. "You must be Elena," Clara said. Her voice was steady. Soft. "I've heard about you." Elena swallowed. She didn't know why the words made her aware of her own body. "Yes," she said. "And you are?" "Clara. I'm starting today. Writing workshop." She extended her hand. "Thank you for having me." Her hand was warm. The handshake lasted a normal amount of time. But for Elena, it felt longer. Elena smiled. The right smile. The trained smile. But inside her, something refused to obey. In the days that followed, Elena noticed Clara without meaning to. She didn't search for her. She didn't plan it. Clara simply appeared. Always in the one place where Elena could not pretend indifference. Clara spoke without rushing. She faced difficult subjects without fear. Her honesty did not come from innocence. It came from courage. Elena watched from a distance. She signed papers. She answered emails. She organized schedules. And she hated herself for watching. There was nothing concrete there. Nothing that explained the tight feeling in her chest. Not when Clara laughed with someone else. Not when she tied her hair carelessly. Not when she bit the pen cap while thinking. Elena was 42 years old. She had a life. She had too many things to lose. And still, she began to wait for Tuesdays. That was the first real sign of danger. The first time they were alone happened out of necessity. It was raining heavily. The center closed early. Elena locked the rooms. She found Clara in the workshop. Clara was gathering wet notebooks. "You're going out in this rain?" Elena asked. Clara shrugged. "It's just water. I'll survive." Elena should have said good night. She should have left. Instead, she said, "I can give you a ride." Clara looked at her. 1 second longer than necessary. The corner of her mouth lifted slightly. "If it's not a bother." It wasn't a bother. It was something else. Inside the car, the rain sounded louder. Elena drove with both hands on the wheel. Too tight. Clara looked out the window. Too calm. "Are you always like this?" Clara asked. "Like what?" Elena replied. "In control." Elena laughed without humor. "Someone has to be." Clara turned toward her. She watched closely. "And who takes care of you?" The question landed deep inside her. "Myself," Elena said. Clara nodded slowly. "That must be exhausting." Elena tightened her grip. "That's life." Silence followed. Then Clara spoke again. Soft. Precise. "Sometimes we call it life. When it's really just fear." The car kept moving. But inside Elena, everything stopped. She parked in front of Clara's building. Clara did not leave right away. Her hand rested on the door handle. She hesitated. "Thank you," she said. Elena nodded. This should have been the end. But Clara looked back. "Elena," she said. "You always look like you're holding your breath." Elena's stomach tightened. "I don't know what you mean." Clara smiled. Not playful. Almost sad in a quiet way. "I do." She stepped out. She closed the door. The rain swallowed the sound. Elena stayed there longer than necessary. Her chest felt tight. As if she had been seen for the first time in years. At home, her husband asked about her day. The children talked about school. The television stayed on. Routine continued. Elena answered everything correctly. But that night, when the house went quiet, she noticed something. She was still holding her breath. And she thought about Clara. Like a secret that refused to fade. Weeks turned into months. Elena and Clara began to meet by chance. In hallways. In doorways. They exchanged messages about work. They shared coffee in empty rooms. Elena told herself it was professional. She called it admiration. She called it normal. But the body did not lie the way the mind did. Elena noticed her own reflection more often. She adjusted her hair when Clara was near. She chose clothes without realizing it. She felt irritated when Clara took too long to reply. And most of all, she noticed the silence. The silence between them was full. One evening, after a student reading, Clara approached. Everyone else had left. The room smelled like paper and emotion. "Did you like it?" Clara asked. "It was beautiful," Elena said. Clara looked at the small stage. Then back at Elena. You never talk about yourself, Clara said. Elena frowned. I'm not the student. I'm not talking about the project, Clara replied. She stepped closer. I'm talking about you. Elena's heart beat louder. The room felt smaller. There's not much to say, Elena said. There is, Clara answered softly. You just don't allow yourself. Elena breathed deeply. I have a life. I know. I'm married. Clara swallowed. I know. Elena wanted anger. She wanted rejection. Anything that would make it easier. But Clara stayed. She looked at Elena like she was deeply human. Then why do you stay? Elena whispered. Fear. Anger. Hope. All in one sentence. Clara breathed slowly. Because when you look at me, she said. You don't look married. You look awake. Elena's eyes burned. Don't say that, she whispered. Clara lifted her hand. She almost touched Elena's face. Then she stopped. She respected the boundary. That hurt more than a touch. I won't push you, Clara said. But I won't pretend I don't feel this. Elena closed her eyes. When she opened them, Clara was still there. Steady. Vulnerable. Real. And Elena understood the truth. Clara was not asking for crumbs. Clara wanted everything. And Elena did not know if she was brave enough to offer it. The first kiss was not planned. It was a failure. A mistake. A break in control. It happened on a quiet night. Elena received a message from her oldest son. He had forgotten a school assignment. At the community center. Elena drove there. She got the keys. She entered the empty building. The lights were off. But the workshop was lit. Clara was there. What are you doing here? Elena asked. Clara looked up. I needed to finish a report, she said. She hesitated. And you? Elena showed the assignment. Clara smiled softly. Always fixing things. Elena stepped inside. She placed her bag down. She was tired. The day had been long. Life had been long. Clara watched her quietly. And Elena felt unprotected. Are you okay? Clara asked. Elena laughed softly. Bitter. No. The word escaped. Clara didn't ask why. She didn't try to fix anything. She stood up. She moved closer. Slowly. Do you want to talk? She asked. Elena shook her head. Her eyes filled with tears. I can't, she whispered. I can't want this. Clara stopped a few steps away. You already do. This will destroy everything. Clara took a deep breath. Holding back something old and painful. Maybe, she said. But you are also destroying yourself. By staying where you no longer fit. Elena trembled. Not from cold. From recognition. She looked at Clara. And for the first time, she didn't try to be the right woman. She was just Elena. I'm scared, she said. Clara nodded. Her eyes were shining. Me too. Elena took a step forward. Clara did not move back. And when Elena touched her face, it felt like touching something she had denied her entire life. The kiss was slow at first. as if they were asking each other for permission. Then it became necessity. A kiss made of swallowed years. Of restrained desire. Of repressed truth. Elena felt the entire world disappear. And at the same time, finally exist. When they pulled away, both were breathless. Their foreheads still touching. Clara whispered. "You're here." Elena closed her eyes. "I am." And then, like a punch, the guilt arrived. Elena stepped back. Her hand flew to her mouth. "My God," she murmured. As if she had committed a crime. Clara stayed still. Her face open and vulnerable. As if she would accept whatever came next. "Elena." "I can't," Elena said, desperate. "I can't do this to them." Clara swallowed. Pain crossed her face. "And what about me?" Elena felt her heart split in two. She grabbed her bag. Her son's assignment. And she left almost running. Leaving Clara alone in the lit room. At home, Elena lay beside her husband. She stared at the ceiling. Clara's taste was still on her lips. Like a confession that could not be spoken. From that moment on, nothing returned to normal. Because now there was a kiss. And kisses were not thoughts. They were facts. Elena tried to pull away. She stopped replying to messages. She invented meetings. She asked someone else to cover the workshops. But Clara was not something that could be turned off. And worse than that. Elena realized she was not running only from Clara. She was running from herself. Clara appeared one afternoon. As Elena was leaving the community center. There was no anger on her face. Only exhaustion. "How long are you going to avoid me?" Clara asked. Elena froze. She looked around. Checking if anyone was watching. The fear of being seen was automatic. And ridiculous to her. Clara noticed. "Is that what I am to you? A risk?" Elena swallowed. "No." "Then what am I?" Elena opened her mouth. But the truth was too big. Clara licked her lips. Nervous. "I don't want to destroy you, Elena," she said. "I don't want to be the reason for your suffering. But I also won't accept being just. A place you go when you're empty. And leave when you remember you already have a life built." Elena's eyes burned. "I don't know what to do," she confessed. Clara nodded. As if she had expected that. "I do know what I'm going to do." Elena felt her stomach drop. "What?" Clara took a deep breath. "I'm going to stop looking for you." Her voice broke on the last word. "Because I'm losing myself waiting for you." Elena stepped forward. "Clara, wait." Clara shook her head. Firm. "I love you. And this should not make me smaller." Elena stayed there. Frozen. Watching Clara walk away. And in that moment, Elena understood something. The love was not forbidden only because of marriage. It was forbidden because it demanded courage. And courage was something Elena had avoided her entire life. That night, Elena had dinner with her family. She laughed at her son's joke. She washed the dishes. She folded clothes. Everything looked normal. But inside, it was a funeral. She went to the bedroom. Sat on the edge of the bed. Her husband was already asleep. The silence felt like a sentence. Elena picked up her phone. She opened her conversation with Clara. The last audio message was still there. Unheard. If one day you decide to live, Clara said in the recording, I hope it's for you. Not for me. Elena pressed play. Clara's voice filled the dark room. And Elena cried. The kind of crying she had not known since she was young. Ugly. Uncontrolled. Without a mask. In that crying, she understood a simple truth. She was dying slowly. And no one was going to save her. Either she chose herself. Or she would spend the rest of her life explaining why she didn't. The climax arrived on an ordinary morning. Like most things that destroy us. Elena was in the kitchen. Making coffee. Her husband mentioned a couple's trip. Something they could plan for the next holiday. He sounded excited. As if the future was obvious. Elena looked at him. For the first time, she felt no anger. No resentment. She felt pity. Because he was also living a lie. He just didn't know it. And Elena understood something. Staying was not kindness. It was cowardice. We need to talk, Elena said quietly. He looked up. Surprised. Now? Elena nodded. Her hands were shaking. He noticed her face and sat down. Elena searched for the right words. They did not exist. I haven't been happy for a long time. He frowned. Why is that? Elena took a deep breath. It's not because of something. It's because I got lost. And I don't know how to come back. He laughed nervously. Elena, everyone goes through phases. We fix things. We try. Elena's throat tightened. She thought of her children. She thought of fear. She thought of judgment. And then she thought of Clara. Walking away with her heart in her hands. She thought of waking up at 50. At 60. Still holding her breath. I don't want to fix it, Elena said. Her voice came out firm. Strong enough to scare even herself. I want to stop lying. Her husband turned pale. What are you talking about? Elena's heart pounded. The world felt like it was about to collapse. I fell in love with someone. The silence was heavy. Almost unbearable. Who? He asked. His voice was cold now. Elena hesitated for a second. Then she said. A woman. He stood up abruptly. The chair scraped the floor. His face changed. As if Elena had become someone else. There were questions. Accusations. Shock. Elena listened to everything. And in the middle of it, she realized something painful. She had always been afraid of being judged. But being judged was less terrifying than never having lived. The weeks that followed were brutal. There were tears. Silence. Arguments whispered so the children wouldn't wake. Elena slept in the guest room. She had difficult conversations with her children. Incomplete explanations. Unavoidable pain. There was guilt. A lot of it. But for the first time in years, Elena was breathing. The truth was heavy. But it was real. On a cold afternoon, after a meeting with a lawyer, and another hard conversation with her husband, Elena sat in her car before driving away. She picked up her phone. Typed Clara's name. Stared at the screen. Her finger trembled. Then she called. It rang once. Twice. 3 times. Elena almost hung up. Hello? Clara answered. Her voice was low. Surprised. Elena closed her eyes. It's Elena. Silence. A silence full of everything unsaid. Elena swallowed. I did it. Clara's breathing became audible. Did what? Elena opened her eyes. She looked at the street, as if searching for support. I stopped running. Clara didn't answer right away. When she did, her voice was fragile. Are you okay? Elena laughed. It turned into a cry. No. But I'm alive. There was a long silence. Elena thought Clara would hang up. Then Clara whispered. Where are you? Elena gave the address. Clara said she was coming. When the call ended, Elena's heart raced. Like she was waiting for a verdict. Clara arrived 20 minutes later. Elena saw her crossing the parking lot. Dark coat. Hair tied carelessly. Dark circles under her eyes. The marks of someone who had suffered. Elena stepped out of the car. They stood in front of each other. Not touching. The air felt electric. You're here, Clara said. Just like that night. Elena nodded. I am. Clara took a deep breath. As if trying to protect her own heart. I won't be your escape, Elena. Elena stepped closer. You're not, she said. Her voice broke. You're the only real thing I've felt in a long time. Clara closed her eyes for a moment. As if fighting the urge to believe. Do you have any idea what this cost me? Clara asked. Her voice shaking. I spent days trying to hate you. So I wouldn't miss you. Tears ran down Elena's face. I know. And I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I was just raised to not break things. To not cause problems. To endure. Clara opened her eyes. They were full of tears too. And I was raised to never accept crumbs. Elena nodded. Then don't accept them. She took a deep breath. Like someone jumping. I can't promise it will be easy. I'm standing in the middle of ruins. But I can promise one thing. I will never hide you again. Clara let out a broken sob. You say that now. And tomorrow? Elena stepped closer again. Her voice was clear. Tomorrow I will wake up scared. And I will keep going anyway. Because I don't want to live as if I don't exist. Clara looked at her for a long time. Searching for lies. Searching for an escape. Then, carefully. Like someone allowing herself after a lot of pain. Clara touched Elena's face. I don't know if I can trust quickly, Clara said. Elena placed her hand over Clara's. Then trust slowly. Clara smiled through tears. A small smile. A real one. You're shaking, she said. Elena laughed. Crying. I'm terrified. Clara leaned closer. Their foreheads touched. Me too. And when they kissed this time, it was not an escape. It was a choice. A kiss from someone who knows. That love does not erase the damage. But it can justify the courage. Elena's life did not fix itself overnight. There were days when her children looked at her differently. Days when she felt guilty for laughing. Days when loneliness hit hard. Because everything was new. There were moments when Clara closed herself off. Afraid of being left again. Moments when Elena panicked. at every unfamiliar look. But now they had something they didn't have before. Truth. Elena slowly learned how to exist outside the role the world had written for her. She learned to say, "I don't know," without shame. She learned to feel desire without apologizing. She learned to breathe without guilt. Clara, in her own way, learned something too. That loving someone in ruins does not mean losing yourself. As long as the person is truly rebuilding, not just leaning on you. The first time they walked hand in hand in public, it was in a distant neighborhood, a place where no one knew them. Elena felt her heart race. Fear rose like a fever. Clara squeezed her hand. "If you want to let go," Clara said, "I'll understand." Elena looked at their intertwined hands. She thought about all the years she had pretended to be someone else. She thought about the trained smile. And slowly, she squeezed back. "I don't want to let go anymore." Clara turned her face toward her. She smiled. And in that smile, there was something that felt like home. And for the first time, Elena did not smile the right way. She smiled the true way. And she breathed. Like someone who finally stopped living as a shadow and started existing as a body, as a choice, as a whole woman. Like someone who understood, late but still in time, that the forbidden love was not a punishment. It was a door. And crossing it hurt. But staying outside hurt more. If you've ever felt this way, tell me in the comments.